I am Alex Hill. I've always been interested in the relationship of the process through which a photograph is taken and how that affects the meaning and content of an image. Fundamentally, a camera is a tool which converts the three-dimensional world into two-dimensional images. I've been actively photographing since I turned 16, but it wasn't until 19 that I had a real conceptual goal. I feel like having a conceptual goal was the beginning of myself artistically. I was trying to fully represent reality as capable through photographic means. I need to capture information digitally from deep shadows under the cars to the highlights in the bulbs. So I took multiple images and combined them together so that my finished image was closer to the real location. This was my take on straight photography. I want to represent truth. Having achieved an ability to capture a range of tones greater than the human eye can see, I realized that I was not able to capture enough detail. Cameras have limited capability to capture an image that can be enlarged. While looking at this image, a viewer could see the bluish-white field on the bottom of the image as snow, but could not see the individual snowflakes that make up the snow. I stitched 27 images together. I felt that the more information I had on my location, the more accurately I could represent it. This image was a fulfillment of what I had been working towards. There are 120 images digitally merged to surpass a tonal range available to the human eye. I manipulated the colors of the various light sources to return them to white. To my capabilities, I had created a photographic copy of reality, but by achieving this perfection of my ideals, I realized that there was a higher reality. As a photographer, I work directly on the spot, and I try to use my camera to capture what is essential in the photograph, and later fill in the spaces bounded by the contours either expressed or no, but in any case felt. Having finished that last image, I was now free, no longer concerned about being camera correct. I now started working towards an emotional reality. How did the colors feel when I first found the location? I was not representing the physical location anymore. I am now representing the internal state of myself during the moment of seeing the location. I love the moment of seeing. The alignment of the right place, the right time, the right lighting, and the right frame of mind. I want to translate what made me have that moment of seeing back into visual imagery. I would drive and walk around until I saw, and then I would set to photographing. I saw my original images as components rather than imagery. I was still concerned with capturing every bit of detail I could, but no longer to keep to the original truth of an image. Instead, so I could have a full palette of information to create the emotional reality of the image. I heavily reworked these images with additional color, manipulating every aspect of the image. I was painting in the emotional color I remembered. When I finished the last image, I was ready to take color and image manipulation further. I felt personally responsible for American coercive interrogation, or torture. I paid my taxes and that funded torture. This image was taken when I was waterboarding my friends. Image making became part of the process, repeating the physical act of torture to understand its effects. I took black and white photographic images and digitally painted them. I wanted my images to be uncomfortable to look at and to translate the horror of the torture through visual language. I worked my colors and system of digital mark making again and again until I felt I achieved this result. This brings us to the present and my senior work. I am photographing the interaction of oil and water. I was inspired by the beautiful colors found in puddles where oil and water interacted after rainstorms. I would see these moments of color on black asphalt and have to stare. I was conflicted. However beautiful, the oil should not be diluting the water. Oil and water do not mix, and I see parallels of conflict between naturalism and industrialization in those puddles. The oil is in the puddle because of a car. That car's production created jobs. That car carried people to their jobs. Food from the grocery store to the table, and to leisure activity. And during its lifespan, has spewed tons of greenhouse gases, as well as fed landfills with expendable parts. The water is emblematic of life. It is right for metaphors about being the giver of life and such, but I'll leave it at that. I see this project as a way to separate the colors from image content, such as people and places. I hope hope to give the viewer a chance to explore the ideas behind the visual elements instead of seeing a narrative or space. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the presenters and come to the show at the end of the year.